requires a great deal of inquiry. To live peacefully demands great intelligence. I said, can we go on like this? It's easy for the speaker to talk about all these things. Well, that's his life. But merely listening to what is being said seems so futile. But the moment you apply, you see something to be true, instant application. Then that removes altogether conflict. Conflict exists only when there is a gap, a division between what you see to be actual, to be true, and all the implications of fear of your action. So there is a gap, a hate, which brings about conflict. I hope you understand. May I go on? Or am I going on for myself? Are we following each other a little bit? We're not doing any kind of propaganda. We are trying to convince you of anything. On the contrary, one must have doubt, skepticism, question. Not only what the speaker is saying, but question your own life. Question, doubt your own beliefs. If you begin to doubt, it gives certain clarity. It doesn't give you such feeling of great importance to yourself. So, doubt is necessary in our exploration, in our inquiry into this whole problem of existence. And the question whether it is possible for human beings who are perhaps somewhat neurotic, whether that neuroticism can be wiped away, become sane, rational, with such a brain inquire. We are inquiring whether the brain cells can, without any influence from the outside, governmental and environmental, religious, all the rest of it, can bring about a mutation in the brain. Is the question clear? Are we putting this question to ourselves? This is a serious problem. This cannot be answered by yes or no. Affirmative or negative. It must be. One must look at this whole question as a whole. Not as a British, French, or some kind of religious, superstitious nonsense. Or according to your own particular discipline or profession. You must look at this whole of life as one unitary movement. You understand all this? If we do, then we can begin to ask, is it possible? And if we do ask that question, what difference does it make? Few of us bring about perhaps a mutation. What effect has it on the world? You know, that's the usual question, right? I may change and you may change. Few of us may bring about a mutation. But what effect has that on the mass of people, on the governments? Will it stop wars? And so on. I think that's the wrong question to put. What effect has it on others? That's the wrong question. Because then you are not doing the thing for itself, but how will it affect others? After all, beauty has no cause, right? To do something for itself, for the love of itself, then it has an extraordinary effect, may or may not have. For example, we have talked for the last 60 years, unfortunately, or fortunately, did I answer the question any further? You might ask, well, how has it affected the world? You go to various parts of the world. Has it changed anybody at all? I think that's rather foolish question. You might ask, why does the flower bloom? Why is there a solitary star in the heavens in the evening? The man who has freed himself from his conditioning never asks that question. In it there is compassion. It is great intelligence. So, let's proceed. Can we proceed because you're not too tired? First of all, do we realize that we are conditioned? Aware, without any choice, aware that my brain is conditioned. Or you accept what another says, and therefore say my brain is conditioned. You see the difference? If I am aware that my brain is conditioned, that has a totally different quality. But if you tell me that I am conditioned, and then I realize I am conditioned, then it becomes very, very superficial. I hope you are following me. So are we aware that we are conditioned as British by our experiences? We're not saying that it's right or wrong. We're going to find out. By our culture, by our tradition, by our environment, by all the religious propaganda for 2,000 years as Christianity, or as Buddhism 2,500 years ago, or Hinduism much perhaps longer. Are we aware? If you are aware, then you ask why. Why is the brain conditioned? What is this nature of conditioning? Is it essentially experience and knowledge? Please go slowly with this. Experience conditions the brain. Right? Obviously. Do we meet each other there? And experience means knowledge. Right? To learn to drive a car, you have an experience getting into a car, driving, and gathering through that experience knowledge how to drive a car. Please listen carefully, who will, kindly. Is knowledge the basic factor of our condition? Knowledge being the repetition of certain traditions. Right? And so on. Knowledge is necessary. Otherwise you can go home. You can drive a car. You can go back to your job, if you have a job. So, knowledge in one area, physical knowledge is necessary. Right? But knowledge also conditions our brain. Knowledge being tradition, the being programmed as we are by newspapers, by magazines, by constant repetition that you are British, British, British. Or when you go to France, it is the same old thing, French, French. And when you go to India, again, India. This constant repetition. So the brain becomes dull, repetitive, mechanical, and that perhaps is a safe way of living. But has got tremendous danger. This repetition of various cultures, countries, is an isolating process, and therefore division, therefore war. That's only one of the reasons for war. So are we aware that our brain is being programmed? Please don't look at others. Look at yourself. You are aware, if one is aware that one is programmed, conditioned, then one asks, is it knowledge? And apparently, it is knowledge. Right? Then why do we live psychologically? Why is the structure of the psyche essentially based on knowledge? Understand? Am I making the question? The psyche, the me, the self, is essentially a movement in knowledge, a series of knowledge, which is series of memories. Right? So we are a series of memories. Right? So we are memory. Would you applaud? Do you see that fact? Not that we are divine and, all that blah that's trotted out by religion. But the actual fact is that we are nothing but memory. Most unpleasant discovery, isn't it? Or do you say, no, there's part of me which is not memory. Moment when you say that, it's already memory. I don't you see it. When I say I am not wholly the result of memory, that very statement implies that there is part of me which is not, and that part of me, when I look at it, is also memory. So, memories of the past, projected perhaps in the future, but still memories. Those memories are modified by the present and continue into the future, but it's still a series of memories. Wonderful. Please, don't let's become sentimental about all this. That's so meaningless or romantic. These are facts. What are you without memories? Without all the remembrances of your achievement, of your wife, of your son, of your brother, family, the memories of your travels, what you have done, what you have achieved, right? They're all in the past. So memories are dead things. On those dead things we live, right? Do see all this. I'm not, please, we are not trying to persuade you to look at it. We're not trying to persuade you or convince you of anything. And the speaker is not your guru. So don't follow anybody. Including the speaker. But look at these facts. Then the question arises, is it possible to live psychologically without a single memory? Put this question, please, to yourself. My brother, son, wife, husband is dead. I remember all the incidents, happiness, all the rest of it, intimate relations. It is a vast remnants of the past, memory. And I live. I have a picture, photograph. And there's this constant stimulation from the photograph. So the me, the self, the ego is a movement of identification with memory. Right? I am a Christian. I am a Hindu, Buddhist, whatever that's called, American, so on. How tremendously attached we are to our identification. That's our condition. And when you see that, not verbally, not as an idea, but actually see the fact, then there is action. Like when you have a violent toothache, there is action. Because it's there. But if you imagine you have a toothache, then that's quite a different process. So do we see clearly, without being persuaded, without being pushed into a corner, do we see very clearly for ourselves what we are, which is our condition, which is our consciousness. And seeing that, what is one to do? Clear? Can we go on from there? Got another 10 minutes. Have we reached that point? Please. Have we all of us, or at least some of us, reached that point when we realize completely that we are conditioned, and that conditioning is a vast series of movements of memory, and memories are always the past, remembrance of things past, which then are projected into the future, modified by the present, but still it is a movement of memory. Huh? And these memories we call knowledge. Huh? Then, how does one look at these memories? You understand my question? How does one observe these memories? We have thousands of memories. Right? From childhood, we have gathered them. Pleasant, unpleasant. Memories that of our aspirations, memories of achievement, memories of pain, fear, great sorrow. We have achieved These are all memories. And do you see these memories as different from the observer? You understand my question? We are observing. I am observing that I am a long series of memories. I've stated that I am memory, but there is in me the feeling that I'm not all that. There is something else that's observing. Right? Are you following? Are we together in this? So is the observer different from the observed? It's an old theme. Many of you probably have heard of it. How you say, well, you're trotting that out. But when you realize this fact, it's something extraordinary happening. Not something mysterious, something parapsychology and so on and so on. Something which ends conflict, which is far more important than anything else. As long as there is division between the memory and the observer, this division creates conflict, right? Division between the Arab and the Jew, between the British and the Falklands. May I mention Falklands? Right. Between the Hindu and the Islamic world. Wherever there is division, there must be conflict. Right? No, pursue that, please. Wherever there is isolated action, isolated solitary pleasure, solitary aspiration, and that very solitude is an act of separation. Therefore, that very person who pursues his particular ambition, his particular fulfillment, his aspiration and so on, must inevitably create conflict. Not only for himself, but for others. So, from this arises a question, whether conflict of every kind in our very being ends. Because we live with conflict. I say, well, all nature is in conflict. A single tree in a forest is fighting to achieve light. It's struggling, fighting, squeezing out others. And human beings, born from nature, are doing the same thing. If you accept that, then you accept all the consequences of conflict, wars, confusion, brutality, ugliness, the nastiness of war. As long as you are British, French, or an Indian, you are inevitably going to create war. Right? But you see this, and we don't do anything about it. So, to end conflict, which means to live with that peace which requires tremendous intelligence, is to understand the nature of cause. I must stop it for now. We'll continue tomorrow morning, but we're sorry to stop at this point. Not that it's an enticement for you to come tomorrow. But
when a memory comes, it seems to come from outside, and then you react to it, then you're embarrassed. You remember something I do. You see what I mean? The memory
yes,
comes,
I understand.
and then there's embarrassment.
The gentleman asked,
That must be an observer.
the gentleman asked, memory is outside, comes from outside.
There must be an observer to react to that memory. with
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Comes from outside, you react to that memory, and you strengthen that memory, or you put aside that memory. Right? Are you different from memory? You see, that's the whole point. We are the result of this movement from the outer to the inner, right? From the inner to the outer, right? Have you not noticed? Like the sea going out and coming. We created this monstrous society, and that society controls us, right? And we try to change that society through law, through government, through all kinds of strikes and all the rest. And then react to that. So it's a constant movement from the outer to the inner, from the inner to the outer. Right? It's one movement. It's not separate movement. Water is water. It goes out and comes in. It's salt water. Now, the question arises from that, whether this movement can stop. Action and reaction. You hit me and I hit you. You hate me and I hate you. I own this particular piece of land and you fight. And I defend and I attack. You follow? This has been going on for millions of years. Ebb and flow of reaction. If you will kindly put a question, whether this movement can end. If that wasp stings me, I react naturally. But why should I react if you flatter me or insult me? Right? So, to ask this question, whether this movement of action and reaction can stop. To find an answer to that, one has to go a great deal into it. Is that enough for this moment? May we get up?